we are in Industry, Maine at Clearwater. And I got off at midnight, and it was about an hour and 20 minutes here. A lot of back roads where you can only do about 25 or 30 with how bad the roads are. But my goal was to get here and cusk fish or burbot, whatever you want to call it, for the first 4 or 5 hours, and then I was going to swap over to salmon and lake trout. Being 3 a.m. I only got about, I'd say, maybe 3 hours of good burbot fishing. So I'm trying to hurry. What I'm going to do now is, oddly enough, I'm going to put a tip up in the ice shack with my blue tips alarms. So I'm going to get this on bottom with a dead bait, and then I'm going to go outside and I'm going to put out 3 more traps on bottom, and then I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to have 1 dead stick and 1 jig rod, and that'll be my 5 lines. So I'm just trying to get everything organized right now. Everything's kind of a mess, but the reason why I am putting a tip up in here with the blue tips alarm is because when I'm setting up my other tracks, I'll be able to hear that. Whereas though on the rattle wheel, I won't be able to hear that bell from a distance when I'm running the auger and stuff. So that's why I'm doing that. Typically you wouldn't put a tip up inside of the ice shack. So I'm in about 40 feet of water, but from this area I can go out to about 70 feet pretty quickly, and I can go into about 30. So I think 40 feet will be good for burbot right now. I want to put a dead shiner on bottom. And then I'm gonna go get my other traps in. Now, ever since I've started to like target burbot, I haven't caught one. So I have caught them before, just never when I was targeting them. So I'm gonna cut this bait open a little bit, get a little bit of scent going. In Maine, we're not allowed to chum holes. Some states you can. This is not one of those states, so we will follow the law. Let's drop this down. It'll be nice to fish in this much water. The last couple weeks we've been in 70 to 116 feet. Alright, so this trap is in and good to go. I'm gonna go set up 3 outside, and then I'll get back with you guys. Alright, so I got 3 traps outside, all with dead bait on bottom. I got 1 trap in here. I just left the tip up, and I got 1 jig hole. So that's my 5 legal lines. I got a glow-in-the-dark lure on this one with a dead smelt head on it, bouncing it around on bottom. Pretty much the plan is burbot really like to feed at night, and so we're going for those until the sun comes up, and then we'll go out and put live bait on everything. Everybody's different. For me, lake trout, I like to go about 2 feet off bottom. For salmon, I pretty much put my leader underneath the ice. My leaders are about 5 feet long. So sometimes I do a little bit less than the leader. Sometimes I roll the leader up on the reel. Sometimes I do a little bit more than the leader. It all depends, but pretty much the base right when I start is 2 feet off bottom for the Lakers and just under the ice, or my leader out for salmon. Now, if you're not getting anything for an hour, hour and a half, go check your bait, make sure it's still lively, and then maybe drop down 3 or 4 more feet if you're just under the ice. Or if you're 2 feet off bottom, maybe go 4 to 5 feet off bottom. Play around with it, and then as you start getting flags or fish, you can kind of adjust all of your other traps and put them to where the fish are biting. So you just got to find where in the water column. But if you always start off, every time you go and you target that species, if you always start off in the same spot, you can make adjustments throughout the day. So that's why it's important to do a slip knot, or put a button or a bobber stop, or in my case elastics on your line to mark your depth. That way every time you check your bait, or if you get a fish and you're resetting, you can always go back to the same spot in the water column. everybody's got a different way to do it. When we went to Moosehead, we all fished 2 feet off bottom because you couldn't take salmon out of the hole. I believe just the other day is when it became legal. I think February 15th you can take salmon out at Moosehead. So none of us wanted to fish for salmon, so none of us put something just under the ice. And we still caught 4 salmon 2 feet off bottom. So it's not just, you set it and you'll never catch that species of fish, because fish go where fish want to go. Once you establish that baseline every time you go, depending on what you're fishing for, like I said, you can make adjustments throughout the day. So we're literally just targeting burbot right now. There's nothing to say that we can't catch a lake trout right now. They just don't bite as frequently at this time as the burbot do. So we'll be happy with anything. It was about 50-mile-an-hour winds all day yesterday, so I was kind of nervous coming this early, but it did calm down just like it said it was going to. When I set the shack up, I didn't even have to pin a corner or hook it down or anything. I was able to set the whole thing up, and then I was able to put my spikes in after the fact. So typically when it's windy, you want to pin down a corner or maybe even get a strap on it as you're setting it up, and I didn't have to do that. And I was able to get all my traps set up. Really, it's around 0 degrees right now, and it was pretty comfortable. It is my first time fishing with a full moon, so that's kind of cool. Should probably go out and get a picture of that for you guys. That's a first for me. So I've tried a couple different glow lures with some dead smell. I've got a couple little tiny bites, but nothing committing. And so far, no action on the 4 tip-ups. We got about 2.5 to 3 hours before daylight. Using a buckshot now, glow in the dark. Show you guys. See a little buckshot. Doesn't that look tasty in the dark waters? All the marks so far are definitely close to bottom, so. Now burbot can't see very good, so having something with some noise like this buckshot with the BBs and a little bit of glow for the light kind of helps them. Since I've been here. So now I'm taking off all the dead bait and I'm putting on live smelt. I did bottom, or 2 feet off bottom, just under the ice, 2 feet off bottom, and I'm gonna do just under the ice on here. I still have my 5th trap inside the shack right now. And I might put that one closer to shore. I was going off the maps offline. I was supposed to be able to hit about 70 feet of water, but I've been out pretty far and I've only hit about 42 at the most. So the map lied a little bit. I'm glad I have that sonar to tell me how deep things are pretty quickly. And I'm not going to move the shack and everything. That 5.5 pound Laker that I caught was in 32 feet of water, so I'm not saying that's gonna ruin the day, but it's not where I wanted to be. Maybe a little bit later on we'll see where things are going. If it's completely dead, maybe I'll just put some traps way out and I got the snowmobile to get to them anyway, so it's not a huge deal. It's definitely not warm out. Not even close. I'm surprised the camera hasn't shut off yet. Usually that's the issues I've been having with these GoPros, is they're shutting off. And some of the days I don't even view it as that cold, so I've been keeping you guys in like my pocket, or I've been putting this glove over the camera, which seems to insulate it pretty good. These smelts are lively. They kind of stay right up in the hole. So even though I only put pretty much my leader out, I still throw my elastic on, because sometimes I forget which ones I have on bottom, which ones I have up just under the ice. So I'm gonna do a little bit more than my leader on this one. I did exactly my leader on the other one, so I like to change them up a little bit, even though it's only a couple feet. You never know. All right, I just made some tea before I came out here. I'm gonna get my alarms turned back on and go warm up for a little bit. So all 5 traps now in the water. If I want to jig in the shack, I just have to pick that line up and I can jig a little bit. And but we'll see. So we have transitioned from burbot fishing to Lakers and salmon. So let's see if we can get some. Well, this is the shack next to where I am. Like I told you guys, 50-mile-an-hour winds last night. See if there's a name on it I can call. The door's in the front. Man, that sucks. I think the door's in the front. I posted on Facebook. In Maine, you gotta have your name on the door, and I think a phone number and address. But it's on the front, so I can't see it because it's on the ground. So it's 7:30 right now. I got 3 traps, 2 feet off bottom, and 2 traps with just my leader out, maybe a little bit more for salmon. Haven't got a flag yet. Nothing jigging. In my adult life, ever since I started trying to target cusk and actually doing overnights, or like I did last night, I got up at midnight, you can't catch the frickin' things. I don't know how much cusk is really in here. They list it. I know they're in here. I just don't know how much there really is in here. But I figured I'd take a chance because I've been wanting to try this place for a couple years now. It must be at least 5 years since I've fished here, maybe even longer. So I've wanted to try it again, and the salmon in here in Lakers, and that's kind of what I've been targeting this year. So I definitely don't want to keep going to the same spots. That's kind of what I did before I started the YouTube channel, is kind of go to the same spots every time. No, I'll get flags, I'll catch bass and perch and pickerel and stuff like that. But since I've had the channel, I've tried to push myself more to kind of go out and go after some better fish and some bigger fish. And I was thinking the other day, I've been out, this is my 10th trip. I haven't caught a bass this year. So I just thought that was kind of weird. I haven't caught one bass. Between me, Arian, Paul, and Monique, I think I keep track of like decent fish. I don't count like the small 6-inch yellow perch, but I think we're up to like 62 fish. My goal was between the 4 of us and the kids, if they decide they want to come out, was to hit 100 fish this year. So we're well on our way, but we had 2 trips where we got skunked out of the 10 trips. Those couple trips where I caught 20 fish by myself, that's starting to kind of even out now. So we got a couple more fishing trips this month, and then we got March as well. We want to get into some pike fish. If you've ever piked fish before, you know that those days can be pretty slow, but hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get something, and maybe we can set up for pike and bass. That way we have a chance to catch something other than just pike. But I'm pretty excited for that. That should be, I think March 1st will be our first pike trip. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys subscribe. Hopefully this trip will we'll get us some nice salmon and Lakers as well. And with my luck, now that I'm not fishing for them, I'll probably catch a cusk off one of my ones off bottom or something. That's usually how it goes. I'd like to find a place that is plentiful and I can jig them up and catch plenty of them. That'd be kind of cool. Gonna just keep an eye on these traps and we'll see if that guy comes over. I did post on Facebook about the shack to a couple main sites. Hate to be the one to ruin that person's day or weekend or whatever. That sucks, but the wind can be pretty powerful. So I mean, I actually wasn't traveling around. I didn't even notice. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I didn't notice this morning when I drove by it that it was tipped over. That was actually where I wanted to fish. So I saw the shack there, but I didn't get close to it because I didn't know if someone's doing it overnight and got cusk lines out. So I kind of stayed away, but I was like, man, that's right where I was trying to go. But I don't think anybody's gonna be fishing there today. First flag of the trip. I think this one was on bottom. It ain't spinning. Like to see it spin a little. Oh, there it goes. Nothing or something tiny? Nothing. We're gonna send it back down. This one's a pretty big bait too, so I was actually excited when I saw that one go up because I knew that one was probably the biggest smelt that I have today. It's always good to get that first flag and get a fish on so you know you're not gonna get skunked for the day. But the skunk is still in play here. Didn't take out very much line. Could be something too small for that bait too. I definitely want to hope it wasn't a perch or something. Depending on what you're fishing for, you always assume it's that species that's grabbing your bait. See, what I do there is that bait was dead. Wasn't really flopping around much, but I want to get the bait down as fast as I can to the same area in the water column, and hopefully that fish will come back. I'll give it probably 20 minutes or so, maybe even not even that long, and then I'll come change this bait out if it doesn't come back. But give it the opportunity. Chances are that was a dead bait when that fish grabbed it anyway. Typically a fish grabbing your bait and batting it around a little bit isn't going to kill the bait like that, so most likely it was already dead, and it seemed to go after it when it was dead once, so it probably will go after it again. I told you guys it might come back after that dead bait. And it might still be something tiny that can't handle it. I actually didn't even move. I've been sitting right there with the snowmobile. It's been about 10 minutes. Spinning very slow. I think I'm gonna let it wait. Let it eat it. That is, like I said, that's a pretty big bait. Did about half a turn. I'd like to see some good quick rotations to know it's really got it. A lot of people just come grab it as soon as they get to the flag. That's kind of what was happening in the shack with when I was jigging. It was just little tiny bites. I'll show you guys. See, just little half turns at a time. It's straight down. Nothing again. I think I'm gonna put the smaller bait on. Still haven't moved. Let's see if the smaller bait is small enough. That one time it was about 2 minutes. I don't know what the heck this thing is. The bait I put on was probably one of the smaller ones I got, so we went from one of the biggest to one of the smallest. It's still not spinning. I almost feel like I feel a shake of some sort. There's the culprit. A little yellow perch. Go somewhere else. We do not want that all day long. We're not skunked, but that wasn't very impressive either. Might raise it up a little bit. Well, I'm gonna go clean some of these holes right here close. I'll leave you guys over here. I really hope that doesn't keep going off. I didn't even get to my next trap over, and it's only about 30 feet away. But it ain't spinning. If this is a perch again, I might move it to underneath the ice for salmon. Perch swim in schools, so I could just be in a school of them for a little bit. Nothing there, so it must have been. Alright, so 4 flags and 1 tiny perch all in like 15 minutes is enough. I'm not playing that game all day. So I've picked this one up to just under the ice. We'll see if we can go for salmon. And hopefully this isn't a massive school of perch that's just going to play with me all day. Because I was thinking if I wasn't getting any action, I was thinking about continuing out further this way. So I don't want to do that if it's just going to be yellow perch. So I'll go clean the holes out. Hopefully that doesn't go back up again unless it's something serious. We don't got time to play with yellow perch all day. All right, I just moved this trap. Spinning slow, not a good sign, I guess. It was just under the ice too, so I was hoping for a salmon, but it ain't looking like a salmon. Not the way it's spinning. Or not spinning, I should say. The bait. So, I mean, if you're looking for a good sign, I just moved that trap out here, I don't know, 5 minutes ago, and it's already got a flag, and it's just under the ice. The one that was back behind you guys that we kept getting the perch flags on, that was down toward the bottom. So maybe this was a salmon that got the bait. If that goes back up and I get a decent fish, not a perch, I might move that one that's way out there over here as well. But we'll wait right here with the snowmobile for a little bit, see if this one comes back for seconds. This is why they call it fishing and not catching. Stupid saying. Someone from shore with a dog is walking out to this ice shack that's tipped over. The dog ran right over to it, and I can tell you, we get a couple dogs in our life that ice fish, and they're pretty smart. They kind of know what's what, and I got a feeling that might be his. So we got 5 flags and 1 tiny yellow perch, and so, I mean, we've been here since 2:30 this morning, so I kind of view it as a failed day or bad luck or just kind of crappy, whatever you want to consider it. But you see that, and it could be a lot worse. I mean, the inside of that shack was destroyed. Who knows what's in there that's broken. Looks like there was a wood stove in there. 1 window's broken. You're gonna have to try to get it tipped up. I mean, something like that, your season could be done right there if you don't have another option, or if that bums you out enough, you're just kind of over it. He's trying to stand on the bottom of it and try to tilt it up, but that thing is huge. It's gotta be like 8 by 10 or something. It looks pretty good size. It looks well built. They did a good job with the skis and stuff, and I know that because I could see them. which is the issue. But yeah, if I don't catch a fish for the rest of the day, you still got to look at the positive things. Last week we had issues with the snowmobile. Luckily it was an easy fix. Something like that right there, I don't know. I've always been nervous about permanent shacks for that reason. I'm sure we'll catch something today, right? They got it. Hopefully nothing inside's too broken up. Looks like the integrity of the shack's still alright. But who knows what's inside. I mean, there could be a lot of fishing gear. It doesn't take much to break. Hopefully they'll be good to go for the rest of the year. Alright, we got about 40 minutes left to get something on the ice other than that little yellow perch. So today's entertainment was not fish, it was this shack over here that tipped over. I have everything picked up right now. Everything's loaded. All I gotta do is grab my traps and head to shore, so it should go pretty quick. I'll show you guys my setup here. So when I have the snowmobile, I built this box which can fit the bait bucket, and I put this here because I was trying to mount the auger, but I'll probably take that 2x4 out just so it'll open up this gap. I throw my gloves and a rope and drink or whatever in there. Obviously got the shovel holder on the side, which really works out well. When I don't bring the puzzle mats, this is kind of what it looks like. If I bring the puzzle mats for the floor in the shack, I can get those in there, but my ice auger has to come out and it goes next to the shack, and then it straps down with these red straps. I do have the sonar in there, but it's in a nice safe spot in between some stuff. And then the jig poles, I have this thing right here. I'm not crazy about it. I think I need to cut a little bit off this plastic because I think it's this one kind of comes out hard, and I don't want to ruin that. So yeah, I got my 2 jig poles. This guy can come off. And that's my setup when I pack fairly light right there. So I mean, I got everything in this jet sled. I got the heater, table, chair, 2 buckets. I got the propane tank, the 20-pounder, a backpack, and the sonar. So works pretty good. I can pull this right into my truck from my trailer without having to unstrap everything. So when I get back to the truck, it'll go pretty quick. Then it'll be about an hour and 20-minute ride home. And I'll be honest with you guys, typically I'd be more stubborn and I'd stick it out and I'd just stay till dark and make sure I got a fish. But yesterday was Valentine's Day and we were supposed to have Chinese, and I thought it'd be a bad idea to eat Chinese and then come ice fishing all day for obvious reasons. So we're having Chinese tonight, and I've been up since midnight and I've been out in the cold, and I am very much looking forward to going home and eating that Chinese food and relaxing, because tomorrow we are supposed to get anywhere from 10 to 20 inches of snow. So we'll have the CF Moto out plowing and shoveling decks and doing that stuff tomorrow, and I'll probably edit this. So I'm kind of just ready to be home. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, we got about 35 minutes now to get a fish that's worthy of showing people. But if we don't, I hope you guys still enjoy the video and the little bit of information I give on how I do things and the entertainment of the shack over there. And I appreciate you guys coming along. So let's jump on the snowmobile and sit in the sun and hope for one more flag. That's all it takes. So I didn't really do a ending to yesterday's video. Pretty frustrated that we didn't catch any fish, but it goes like that sometimes. It's not a huge deal. I still had a good time, a better time than that guy with the shack, obviously. I was gonna do a kind of an ending video for you guys after I got in the truck, but well, remember when I said things could be worse? The recoil went on the snowmobile, so yeah, that sucks. It does catch once in a while, just enough for me to start it. And I could start it with a rope, or I think I could even use a drill into the clutch. But thanks for watching the video, guys. Remember, keep on fishing on.